Hey everybody, Andy from StarWars.com here at Lucasfilm headquarters. In Homecoming, we saw Hera begrudgingly team up with her father, Clone War legend Cham Syndulla, and now I'm gonna take you behind the scenes. This is Rebels Recon. Just pretend I said that in a French accent. Running out of options and needing to take control of an Imperial carrier, Hera must contact her estranged father, Cham Syndulla, for help.
Cham Syndulla, at your service.
Reluctantly agreeing to her plan, Cham and his crew board the carrier above Ryloth, but not before double-crossing the rebels with a plan of their own.
We only needed your help to get on board. I'm sorry.
With Imperials closing in, Cham has no choice but to fight alongside Hera, salvaging both the ship he wanted to destroy and his relationship with his daughter.
I am proud of you, Captain Syndullas.
This week, Hera had to deal with her family issues head-on, while Kanan struggled to keep his inner fanboy in check. I sat down with cast and crew to talk about this dynamic, how Cham has changed since the Clone Wars, and what Numa has been up to all these years. Check it out. Cham Syndulla was a fan favorite character in the Clone Wars. How has he changed as a person since we last saw him?
You meet Cham when he's older. The sad thing about Cham to me is that he's been fighting his whole life. Right when he conquers one enemy, he finds another.
He's definitely become more of a zealot. It's the conditions of the Clone Wars, followed by the Imperial occupation, followed by everything that's happened since, have pushed him beyond the brink of being more of a wise, noble leader.
In one way, you could say the wars never ended for him. He was probably right at the forefront and standing up to the Empire. What happens to a person when war doesn't end for them? They become more and more willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Hera's relationship with her father?
It starts out all right when she's very young and very gifted, obviously as a pilot. She's looking at a vaster horizon and saying, well, if these things are good for Ryloth, aren't they good for the whole galaxy?
Basically, the contrast that you get out of Cham and Hera is that difference between focusing only on yourself and your immediate surroundings and focusing on a bigger picture. Part of that, maybe that comes from flying. She's quite literally able to get the bird's eye view of situations, and then that could inform her point of view.
Kanan seemed a little nervous to meet Cham. Was that because he's a famous Clone War general, or is there something else going on?
That's a part of it. It's Hera's father, and Hera and Kanan obviously have feelings for one another. On the flip side, it's another connection to Depa for Kanan because of Mace Windu and his relationship with Cham. There's this sort of throwback to the past and this mystery surrounding him that goes much deeper than him being a famous general. It's more that direct connection to his lineage of Jedi.
Numa was another popular character when she was just a child in the Clone Wars. How did her experience affect her decisions later on in life?
She has lived in a world that needed fighting to resolve it, that needed fighting for survival. And so she's naturally taken up arms to help protect her people. She's a big believer in Cham. I just thought it was a great opportunity to have her in the show again, bring Kat Tabor back to voice her as she voiced her as a little child.
How did you go about aging up Numa for Rebels?
You just chronologically deal with what you're going to be dealing with, and then making sure that she had that toughness, just that fortitude that she clearly has been growing up with since we saw her last.
So you've portrayed Numa for her entire life, and we've seen her grow up from Clone Wars to Rebels. Have you found yourself internalizing her character at all?
There is really a part of me that is really connected to Numa. I'm not sure why.
Hold up, buddy. That is my office. I earned it. You got your desk. Come on. Like my new digs? It's a work in progress. But what better way to celebrate than to track down the Lucasfilm Story Group's Java junkie, Pablo Hidalgo, with some Star Wars questions. Watch. All right, Pablo.
Talk to me.
This week's question comes from Patty Bones. Patty asks, Rebels Recon, how could Kanan and Ezra go out into that environment with only a helmet for protection, especially the scenes in space?
Well, they never actually go into space. That planetoid with the Clauson gas has a trace atmosphere, not unlike the planetoid that the space slug was in at The Empire Strikes Back. Han, Chewie, and Leia went out in that environment with just breath masks as well. So there is a trace atmosphere. The Clauson makes it unbreathable for humans, and I guess Lasats as well, since Zeb has to wear a breather. But it's perfectly breathable for Rodians and whatever boss Yushin is. And then if you're wondering, well, weren't they in space when they're on top of the Ghost and it's taking off with the Purrgil? We never actually see it enter space. We don't see that it leaves the atmosphere. When we see the Purrgil jump into hyperspace, Kanan and Ezra are back inside the ship.
That actually brings up another question, though. In The Force Awakens, Finn says that First Order Stormtrooper helmets can filter out smoke but not toxins. How could Kanan and Ezra's helmets filter out the gas?
Without an attached oxygen source, like a big tank that you see on TIE fighter pilots or space troopers, that breathing apparatus primarily acts as a filter. It'll extract whatever breathable oxygen there is. So there's something on that planet that allows them to breathe. It's just that the Klauzon gets in the way.
Right on. Thanks. Thanks for clarifying. Have questions about Homecoming or anything else you want to know about Rebels? Tweet it to @StarWars using the hashtag Rebels Recon, and we'll answer what we can online. Now, while I attend to some very important business matters, why don't you watch a preview clip from our next episode, The Honorable Ones?
What exactly are we looking for?
The primary databanks. They might have records of what the Empire was making.
My gut tells me those databanks will be empty.
My gut tells me this is a trap.
How perceptive.
Thanks for watching Rebels Recon. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode. If you're searching for more information on Homecoming, check out our episode guide on StarWars.com or download the Star Wars app. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go finish decorating my office. Hey everybody, Andy from StarWars.com here again at Lucasfilm headquarters. This week we saw Ezra develop a deeper connection with the Force in the call, and now I'm going to answer all your questions. So reach your hand out, try to connect with me. This is Rebels Recon.